Welcome to Caricomp Insider, where high-tech facial recognition meets real-world intelligence. Here's something that might surprise you. The biggest threat to facial recognition investigators isn't bad technology. It's bad paperwork. Biometric privacy law has already triggered over $2 billion in settlements. And most of that hit people who never saw it coming. If you've ever run a facial comparison for a case, this matters to you. It doesn't matter if you work for a massive agency or a two-person shop. Regulators don't care how big you are. They care what you did with someone's face. So here's the question threading through today's episode. What separates a legally defensible facial comparison from a lawsuit waiting to happen? Let's start with the simplest building block. Regulators now split biometric work into two buckets. Think of it like the difference between a search warrant and warrantless surveillance. A detective with a warrant has a specific subject, a specific location, and clear legal authority. That's scoped, consent-based facial comparison. Now picture a detective photographing everyone on a street, just in case. That's random biometric harvesting. The EU Act draws exactly this line. Live remote identification in public spaces. High risk or flat-out banned. But controlled, case-specific comparison with human oversight? That sits in a completely different legal category. The law literally rewards you for narrowing your scope. So how do we know this isn't just theory? Because Illinois already proved it's real. Their Biometric Information Privacy Act, known as BIPA, passed back in 2008. It lets regular people file private lawsuits over biometric misuse. And those lawsuits have already produced billions in class action settlements. Here's the part that stings. BIPA litigation hasn't just targeted big corporations. Small businesses got hit too. Your exposure depends on what you do with images, not the size of your team. But here's where it gets even more urgent. BIPA isn't alone anymore. At least a dozen U.S. states passed or advanced biometric privacy laws between 2022 and 2024. Texas, Washington, Colorado, all have active enforcement now. This isn't a patchwork. It's a closing net. And the single-factor regulators keep coming back to. Something called purposeful collection scope. In plain English, can you document why you used each image, who gave you authority, and what your comparison was limited to? If yes, you're on categorically safer ground. Now here's what most people get wrong. They assume biometric law is a big company problem. They think if they're a solo investigator or a small firm, regulators aren't watching. The settlement record says otherwise. So here's the bottom line. Biometric law now splits facial work into two lanes, scoped and documented or broad and risky. The penalties are already real, already massive, and they apply to everyone. The investigators who'll lead this field aren't just better at finding faces. They're the ones who can walk a courtroom through exactly why every comparison they ran was legally clean. Worth thinking about next time you open a case file. Now you know something most people in this industry don't. Use it. And when you're ready to put it to work, caricomp.com. We'll see you tomorrow.